Welcome to the Grab a Hold podcast. I'm your host, Justin S. I am back in the pool house solo tonight. It is prediction week. I have my predictions. I have Damien's predictions. Unfortunately, we could not get everybody together to do the prediction episode. It's been a busy week. Both of my colleagues are in the world of teaching. And so we're getting to the end of school. We're getting to the end of the semester for a lot of the local elementary, high school, junior high, and colleges. And the two gentlemen that work with me work in that world, and so they are working on finishing things up, and so their schedules are a little bit busier than normal. But we'll be fine. We'll get through it, and hopefully we'll have both of them back next week. If not, we'll return to form with me and one or both, pending on the scheduling. We always hope to have all three of us here, but we know that with the way that we do things and the way that things are going on, we do know that David is possibly, we can't talk too much about it, but it has another great opportunity that he's working on that could be taking up a lot of his summertime. And so scheduling wise, we're always trying to work around everybody that's got stuff going on. Like I said, we all have kids, we all have things going on, so we're trying to figure this scheduling out. So tonight it will be just me. I'm going to give my predictions, my thoughts on some of the way that things have been built for Backlash. We're going to talk a little bit about some things that aren't on Backlash, and I'll give you mine and Damien's picks. And I noticed after looking at my last video that we posted from this week of the Karrion Kross documentary and the budget cuts, there was a comment left on YouTube by David saying that he was, in fact, a victim of budget cuts also. But let's be clear, pal, that's not true. That's not true. The door is always open for you to come back and make your return anytime, just like Roman Reigns. We are, as usual, we are live on YouTube if you're watching this right now. We are also on Spotify, Amazon Music, and Audible. So make sure that you hit the bell, the plus sign, the heart, whatever it is on the platform that you watch or listen to us on, so that way you can get these as soon as they drop. We are looking here pretty soon to add a couple more episodes other than just the regular weekly stuff, so be on the lookout for those, kind of like this week where I reviewed the documentary and talked about budget cuts. We're going to add a couple more things in the coming weeks, so please be on the lookout for those, as we will be dropping those as soon as the night that I record them. I'm the one that edits these. I'm the one that does this, so we'll be looking forward to that. As always, if you're not following us on Instagram, please make sure that you do. We try to do our best to keep up on it. We are at the Grab a Hold podcast with an underscore after each word except for the word podcast, along with our YouTube channel having the same name and title. So let's dive right into it. Let's talk about Backlash. It is this Saturday. It is the day before Mother's Day and 3 weeks post WrestleMania. 5 matches. That's what we're back to, is this 5-match format. We're going to talk a little bit about that here momentarily, and we'll talk about each one of the matches that have been set up and how they got there, and what I think is going to happen, and what Damien's predictions are for what's going to happen. There's been, this big build where they pushed WrestleMania back this year, and then now, 3 weeks later, post WrestleMania, we're right back into the rotation of every 3 to 4 weeks. I know for myself, I feel like, man, like, this might need a WrestleMania on both sides, the gap that they had to build for. So if you're going to build with 6 weeks, then give yourself 6 weeks on the backside. If you're going to go 4 weeks, give yourself 4 weeks on the backside of Mania, to kind of go to this refresh, reset, like the direction where things go coming out, whether it's advancing a storyline, whether it's starting over with somebody and trying to get to something, whatever it is, go ahead and give yourself time to build to those things and have that opportunity instead of rushing it. Based on what is listed currently, soon as this is over for Backlash this weekend, they're 2 weeks away from Saturday night's main event. So there's another in-between show before you get to another PLE, so we're back to cramming things in there again. And we're going to talk about, like I said, some things that are not on the show that are probably headed towards Saturday night's main event. This 5-match format that they seem to feel like is the right formula and give everybody equal time, as far as, no squash match or no quick, 5-minute matches. I got to say, I think that kind of 6 to 7 should be the window. So if you're doing 3.5 hours, 6 to 7 matches should be good, because not every match needs to go 20 minutes. Not every match needs to go 18 minutes. You can get some stuff done in 10 to 12, and 5 seems a little short, and in certain instances a little long for certain matches. So I feel like they need to do a better job with this 5 match format of either trying to add matches and eliminate some more of this, ad and sponsorship issue where there's a lot of filler of those things, and try to get back to mostly, the wrestling. Make the pay-per-view about how, we have these matches and this is the story and let's get to it, rather than, well, we got this commercial for this sponsor and then there's another commercial for this sponsor. And by the way, there's sponsors painted all over the mat and there's ads all over the ringside, with the guardrail being LEDs now and the ring LED now and the pole wraps LED. So I feel like we're getting to a point here where we've talked about, Damian and I have talked about how this ad sponsorship and the revenue from that is nice, but at the same time, where's the line? Where do we get to where it's affecting the presentation, it's affecting the things that are going on? Let's get to the matches. The 5 matches are listed here in no particular order. I'm going to give you my picks for winners. I'll give you why. I'll give you a little bit of the match, and I'll give you Damian's picks. The first match listed is Gunther versus Pat McAfee. Both Damian and I are going Gunther here. This story being told is that Gunther is pissed post WrestleMania, and instead of trying to get back at Jay and going after him, he's going after originally Michael Cole and now Pat McAfee to prove his point that, this should have never happened, that they were always on Jay's side, they've had it out for him from the beginning, and that ultimately he's going to make, an example out of Pat. There's a lot of rumors that this match is going to lead to Goldberg and Gunther this summer at some point, whether that's Money in the Bank, whether that's SummerSlam, because SummerSlam's 2 nights this year, whatever it is, it seems to be a vehicle to get there. I don't think that Pat needs to be competitive in this match at all. I think he needs to put up a fight, but not be competitive, and those are different things. The way that they had Gunther choke him out was cool. I thought that was a good way to set this thing up. But having just these promos and, this other stuff, you can't expect, anything crazy. I would have liked to have seen Pat kind of get him back a little bit by attacking him and going after him and then letting him get after him a little bit more. So, but that's not the way they did it. I think Gunther needs to dominate this. He needs to prove that, he's as crazy and, as focused as he's ever been, and that he needs to go ahead and dominate in a fairly short match. Let Pat get in a spot or two of showing, he's the underdog coming from underneath. Let him have his big, he tends to do some big spots where he's doing a moonsault or he's doing a front flip. Let him have one of those, and then let Gunther be the one that finishes him off. I think it's pretty straight to the point here with this one. The next match I have listed is the United States Fatal 4-Way. I have Jacob Fatu. You put the belt on him, there's no reason for him to lose. I like that it's a 4-way out of the gate, so he can kind of come and go. He can dominate a couple guys. He doesn't got to dominate all of them. Other guys can have their moments without it happening to him right away, but there's no point in taking this off of him. Everybody should just strap in, because this should be the ride that you're on with Jacob Fatu, that they put the belt on him for a good while, and they need to create some, viable challengers and some viable angles and stories for him, including solo, if that's the way that goes. Damian here chose LA Knight, which is interesting because Damian hates LA Knight, it seems like. Says he sucks, says he's boring, says he's a ripoff, but this is the guy that he chose. I don't see LA Knight getting his title back. I don't see them trying to take the title off of Jacob. LA Knight, we've talked about, had 2 underwhelming title runs. I don't see them putting the belt right back on him 4 weeks later just to do it again. It doesn't really seem to make sense. Jacob's the guy that you want with a title. He's not a main eventer yet. He's definitely going to be headed that direction. And at the end of the day, this is his, jump off. This is where he's going to, take off as a champion. This is where he's going to establish, if I could talk, himself as a guy that can go and can be, next level. And now he's getting to do it in a 4-way where he doesn't have to do all the heavy lifting. So I got Jacob. Damian's got LA Knight. The next match listed, Becky Lynch versus Lyra Valkyria for the Women's Intercontinental Championship match. I got Becky. I don't see her losing. I think people assume that Lyra's going to win because she's, bested her on the mic and, that she's returning. So she's just going to get it for turning on her. I think Becky wins. They make her that, Grand Slam champion even farther. And that she's walking around with this belt now because they figure somebody with Becky's name, somebody with her name value. She's got, Happy Gilmore 2 coming out soon. That this is going to help establish the women's Intercontinental title. So I think that Becky wins this one. It's pretty straight to the point. They should have a good match. I mean, obviously we've seen Becky, at Mania. We saw her on Raw. But I think these two have the potential to have a great match. But I just don't see Lyra winning. I could see Becky cheating to win, and that's how she gets it because, she's a bad guy that doesn't give a damn about Lyra. But I just don't see Lyra coming out on this one. Damian also chose Becky, but he chose her via disqualification, which the only thing I can assume that he means by that, without us having a conversation, is that Becky's going to keep trying and Lyra's going to keep kicking out and keep coming back, and ultimately Becky gets frustrated to the point that it goes to disqualification. The next match listed is Dom versus Penta for the Intercontinental Championship. This match, I feel like this one has the potential to be match of the night. Dom as champion is clearly a big deal. It's a big thing. Everybody seems to love it. Everybody seems to be on the same page. Everybody likes this. And everybody likes Penta right now. If you're on either side of this is a match you're going to want to see because at the end of the day, these two both have, lucha libre roots in this. They both can do a lot of these things, but they don't need to be high flyers, if that makes sense. Dom is very much a chicken shit heel, but Penta is very much strategic and methodical with his attacks, and Dom selling could make for a really good storytelling in this match and the way that they try to go. Ultimately, Damian and I both picked Dom. I don't think that they put the belt on Penta yet. The only way I see it going the other way is if this is where Finn turns on Dom, as it was seen on Monday Night Raw. Dom was in the background talking to Roxanne Perez, which means to me that he's not turning on him here. I would imagine that there's going to be something different in mind, that this isn't there yet, that he's going to do something that involves bringing Roxanne Perez in because Liv is currently off doing other things. So I don't think this is where it happens. I think Dom continues to be champion, or they might even help him become or stay champion rather. So I got Dom. Damian's got Dom. So we're going to go ahead and say that, unfortunately, Penta's not the Intercontinental Champion just yet. But I don't think he's done with this and the Judgment Day by a long shot. The main event, as we said, it's only 5 matches. So the main event is Randy Orton versus John Cena. It's being touted as one last time. I like the match from a nostalgic standpoint, but I don't care for this as the championship main event. I don't think that Cena being the champion helped anything for what his run will be with nostalgic matches, because nobody, now that he's the champion and they're doing this whole heel thing, he has to have some sort of reason to fight these guys. Orton's not on there. Like, he came back after Cody's situation and bitching about the fans, and now he's bitching about the fans some more and talking about Orton's legacy. That's all this is. He's not mad at Orton. He's not going after Orton. He's just saying, well, I'm going to ruin wrestling some more, and you're going to lose, and this is going to be your legacy that I take with me. Orton, obviously, is a legend killer. Cena is a 17-time champion. Makes a lot of sense. It definitely makes a lot of sense. You want to see that. You want to see Orton be the guy that takes it off him. But does anybody really think that, and this was my problem, with them putting the title on Cena early in this finale of his career, that if you put him on him early, nobody believes he's losing until you either get to the end or till you get to somebody that you feel like, well, that's who he would probably say he'd want to lose to and possibly pass the torch to. So I don't think that the way that they did this, that it makes sense to go, what are you going to do? Orton now, Punk later, AJ down the road, and by the time we get to the fall, we're looking at, nobody nostalgically, and he's still the champion. And we've talked about this, that the way that they've laid this out would make you believe that Cody returning is going to be the guy that quote-unquote saves pro wrestling and takes the title back off of him. But you could have done that differently. Like, they could have had Cody win at Mania, have his moment, do everything that he did to overcome, And then Cena has to, be dastardly, and those nostalgia matches are the ones where he's trying to fight back to get to that world title match, to try and get to 17 and do it in the worst way possible, from cheating and screwing people over, rather than, well, I'm the champion now, so now I'm just going to run away with this and do this whole bit. I don't think that anybody really believes that Randy Orton, especially in his hometown, is going to wind up beating John Cena. That's not a thing. WWE is notorious for having guys and girls beat in their own hometown. This will be no different. Randy Orton loses, John Cena wins, and we go, well, called that. The thing I do want to see is whether or not John wrestles a better match for himself. Not the storytelling of the match, but himself. Does he look a step off? Does he look slower? Does he look like he's, losing it? Or is he, a good wrestler at this point in his career like he once was, but he's not, and I say good, not great, good, at storytelling, but is he able to, keep up? What's his cardio look like? Or is it going to be another slow-paced, drag-ass match like him and Cody had at WrestleMania? And I think everybody's kind of waiting to see, is Travis Scott going to make another appearance? Or was that just because it was WrestleMania? How does this work with him? What does this look like? So I think that, we're all kind of sitting here waiting to see what they're going to do with the extra pieces of this. But the match itself, I think everybody kind of knows the outcome. And the nostalgia of this match, like, this is the other problem that I have with him, doing the ruining wrestling bit. These matches that are nostalgic matches, like I mentioned, the Punks, the AJs, the Randys, these matches could be tear the house down kind of matches where these guys can go out there and kill it. But now, because you're doing the ruining wrestling angle, and I said this, I brought this up on the podcast with Damien a couple weeks ago. Are you willing to throw away 6-8 months of main event wrestling with John Cena to say, well, that's just him ruining wrestling? So we're just shitting the bed on purpose at this point. I don't think it's worth it. I really don't. I feel like if you're doing a real nostalgic run of opponents that he's had, that letting them go out there and try to tear it up, even if it has to go a different way, that they got to handle it differently, that they got to do it differently from the fact that these guys are older and John's been away for a long time, that's fine. I at least want to see them try. I don't want to see this idea of like, well, we're ruining wrestling, so we're purposely having bad matches, even though it's the last time you're going to see him versus this guy or that guy. And to me, that's a waste. You're wasting good quality viewing and matches that could be potentially had, all for the sake of a bad storyline that people don't want to let go of and admit that that was a mistake to do it the way that they did it. So that's the 5. Damien and I lined up on 4 out of 5. The deciding factor will be the United States title match. Like I said, I have Jacob Fatu. He's got LA Knight. That'll determine who wins for him and I. I'm sure at some point David's going to come through in our group message or on a comment in the comment section and mention his picks or say, this is who I'm picking before Saturday. So I'm sure that those will get in there. But for now, these are what we have, and this is what we're going off of. One of the things I wanted to bring up is there's no world title on this card. So you hyped Jey Uso's win as supposed to be the big deal, that he finally gets his moment and he overcomes Gunther. Gunther's off doing his own thing with Pat McAfee, and now you don't even have Jey on the card. Like, he's doing this thing with Logan Paul, where Logan calls him out. I don't know how many people really want to see this match. Then they have, after Raw goes off the air this week, Logan sneak attacks him and punches him from the crowd while he's celebrating with the crowd, which was whatever. It was just for social media. And I don't like it. I don't like Logan as a contender in this. It doesn't make sense. You would want to have Jey either have the rematch with Gunther and beat him clean again, where you go, look, he's really got his number. He's really locked in. Or you want to have him go against somebody who you feel like at the end of the day is somebody who can do something different and actually be somebody you go, oh, well, I understand why that match is happening. I understand why that guy's getting the world title match. He's next in line. Whether that would have been, somebody that you've been seeing, whether that was Braun moving on to, weaken him. Even if he doesn't get beat, it weakens him to lead to Seth at some point. Seth could argue that he was the number one contender. there's a couple different other options that they could have went with here, and instead they went with Logan Paul of all people. And I'm glad that it's not on the card, but it seems like that's what's going to be at Saturday night's main event. And maybe this is just me, but if I'm the WWE and I know that network television with Saturday night's main event is going to be live and you're going to want to see it on NBC, wouldn't you want to put Cena on there instead of Jay as far as the titles and who's defending what? I mean, I would imagine that they should have done it the other way. That you let Randy and John burn another couple weeks, and then you have Jay and Logan get their match over with at Saturday night, or at Backlash rather, and let John go on to Saturday night's main event with Randy. But instead, here we are where, again, Logan kind of comes and goes, and it's whatever, and nobody says anything, nobody cares, and then you got John and Randy doing their thing on the PLE. So, I don't know, maybe, that's just an old way of thinking because they don't focus on ratings so much anymore, but I feel like eyeballs on the product, you're going to get more out of NBC than you will the streaming of the PLE. And if you're on NBC, who do you know that you see on TV? John Cena? Oh, I know that guy. I'm going to tune in. Or so the kids, they like John Cena. Oh, hey, John Cena's on. Can I watch John Cena? I just don't understand why you don't go that route if that's not the case when you're thinking eyes to product and, apples to apples as far as who's important and who needs that light and who needs the PLE. I feel like Jay needs the PLE to be the main event, right? Like, he didn't get the main event at WrestleMania, but if you put him in the main event here and he gets a definitive win, it's a good way to close the show, and you still have John and Randy saved for the main event of Saturday night's main event. And even then, you can bring Travis Scott into Saturday night's main event if you need to, and bring even more eyes to this whole thing. But that's not what they're doing. They're doing it the other way, and we'll see how it plays out. So hopefully this doesn't get wasted where Logan's not here another week, and then he comes back the week leading in for the go-home show, and then it's just some sort of weak situation where he's, getting caught by Jay, and then it's, well, now they're fighting at Saturday night's main event. I feel bad for Jay in that sense, that that's what they're doing. The other thing I want to bring up is that the biggest or best, depending on how you're looking at it, thing they have going on right now is Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, and Paul Heyman, and what they're doing. And they're not on the show either. So they're probably going to do something at Saturday night's main event, but you literally had them take out Sammy. You've had them go after Punk. So now, obviously we kind of speculated that Punk and Roman eventually will get the tag match against Seth and Braun, but I feel like they should have, in one way or another, like they should have done the Sammy thing where like they crushed him, he's come back to help. So now this week, you turn around and you go, hey, listen, you want to get involved? All right, we're going to make some phone calls. And they call it in and go, now you got to fight Braun again. We're going to crush you again. Or you have Seth go, well, I guess I got to do this myself since you came back. You have Braun interfere. Seth winds up getting the win. And then that puts Sammy out of the way. And then you keep it moving. But the people that you're talking about most, the group that is, the one that positive thing that people like right now isn't even going to be on your PLE. So I don't know creatively where WWE's head's at in some of these situations, and I know a lot of it is, well, no, sit back and let them do their thing and see where it goes. Hey, listen, I hear you, but as somebody who's been a fan as long as I have, the longer you wait and the less you see it, the less likely it is to happen. That's not the way you're hoping they're going, ain't the way that they're going. So I think they're making some missteps here, and the way that they're laying out some of these matches and what they're doing Backlash Saturday compared to Saturday night's main event in 2 weeks, there's a lot of stuff that they could have done differently here, and yet here we are thinking, I don't know, I feel like I'd have done it this way or I'd have done it that way. And that's not what you want fans thinking coming out of the situation, good, bad, or indifferent, that is WrestleMania. Like, Mania was something where everybody had high, expectation of this moment that didn't deliver because of the way that they laid it out in execution. That's not a good way to end the show. It's your biggest show of the year, and then the following show that you're going to have in a PLE sense, you don't really have the moving pieces that have everybody the most excited on the show. So, I don't know what they're doing. We'll see how it plays out Saturday afternoon, Saturday night, depending on what time and where you are in the world to watch it. Um, I hope that what they're seeing with Kross, I brought up Karrion Kross this week on an earlier episode to try and do the review of his documentary. Um, and from what I saw on the documentary and what I'm seeing now, the amount of attention he's getting, he's now the third best merchandise seller with his Pulling Strings t-shirt. I hope they're watching. I hope they're paying attention because he's out here making a difference and he's doing it on his own. They don't have the machine behind him, like that's for sure. He's promoting things through his social media, and the fans 100% are getting behind him. I hope this leads to more. I hope this leads to something he can do. Excuse me. And I hope that ultimately at the end of the day that he gets a fair shake to show what he has the capabilities, the talent, the wherewithal to do the things that have people interested, to do the things that has people's attention currently. So I hope that's the way this goes. I hope we're going to get Kross here in, the near future, because having him on Raw this week and just up in the crowd doing an interview, his interviews and promos have been solid. Really like what he's doing, and that now he's pitching the devil you know versus the devils you don't. That's that's got some good traction, some good legs right now. But let's give him his matches. Let's give him his time. Let's give him a push and a run. Nobody's saying put the title on him. Nobody's saying go crazy as far as championship stuff goes. But at least give the guy a chance to be one of the people that has an opportunity to go through that curtain and come back and go, follow that. I got you. Follow that. Or come off of a promo segment going, man, that was electric. Did you guys feel that? I hope he gets that chance post Backlash. I hope this leads to something at Saturday night's main event even, as soon as that is. So hopefully that's a thing that they are headed towards, to do something that's in a positive light, right? Right now he's a positive. The Seth group is a positive. He's a positive. They got a couple things that if they get behind them and they, really try to go, hey, we need to do this, we got this, then, they could do some good things with it. As far as this weekend goes, it is Mother's Day weekend. As I mentioned on the episode earlier in the week, that Sunday is Mother's Day. A couple people I want to shout out. I want to shout out my mom. My mom has been somebody who's been totally supportive of me. Not one of those people that's been, delusionally supportive, so to speak, to be like, oh, you can be an astronaut or you can be whatever. Even as I've gotten older, she's the one with me as the middle child of four that is like, hey, if you want to do it, then work your ass off and go get it. There's nobody that should be able to stop you. If you want it, you got to work hard enough for it. And this podcast is no different. She's been supportive of me with this podcast. She's been supportive of me in any business venture I've stumbled into or pushed my way into. And I just want to shout out my mom and make sure that, it gets known that I appreciate my mom. And it's not easy. She's somebody who a year and a half ago lost my dad. And so having to be able to be mom with all of us as adults without the person that you expect to be around forever is not easy. So shout out to my mom. Shout out to everything she's doing and the strength that she showed. And then, of course, shout out to my wife. My wife, as a mom of three, kills it every day. She's working as she's got our toddler running around from home. And then she goes to the office in the afternoon when I get home, and then comes home and handles and manages this family just as much, if not more so than I do. She's obviously inside with them right now while I'm out here doing this. And I couldn't do any of this stuff without her and her support. And she's always told me, hey, if you want to go do something, go do it. Don't let me stop you. Don't let anybody stop you. And she's been a hell of a partner. She's been a hell of a mom. She's as I've told time and time again, she's a goddamn rock star, is what I tell people. Like, if you knew her story and you knew what she was about, you would know how fucking awesome my wife is and how good of a mother she is and has been. So shout out to my wife, Angie. I love you. Thank you for being the mom that you are. Thank you for everything you do and supporting me in all of this. I could not do that with anybody, without the support of my wife and my mom. So happy Mother's Day to those beautiful ladies. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there that, if you're listening to this and you ain't talked to your mom in a while, pick up the phone and call her before Mother's Day and just say hello. check on her, see how she's doing, tell her you love her, whatever it is, and make sure that you let them know that you're there and that you care. Other than that, hopefully, like I said, we can get the scheduling back on track and get everybody back together next week and talk about some stuff that, the fallout of Backlash and where things are headed based on next week and headed towards Saturday night's main event. You have already. Awesome. Thank you. Make sure that if you haven't, make sure that you hit the heart, bell, plus, and whatever it is so you get these as soon as they drop, whether it's YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music, or Audible. And make sure that if there's something you want to talk about, something you want to hear us talk about, leave it in the comment section. Whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on Spotify, we'll talk about it. We'll bring it up on air. We'll shout you out on air. And we'll do our best to try and, make it a conversation piece to see what we can do with it. So thank you to all those that are listening. Thank you to everybody that has, been with us along the way and continues to grow with us. We look forward to more. Like I said, keep your eye out. We're going to be doing a business episode here pretty soon. That's one of the things that's in the works is I am currently working with a former guest that we're going to be working on the business side of things. And as far as, stock values and quarterly reports and the business that is WrestleMania and why it's so important. So looking forward to that. Keep your eyes out. Those will drop as soon as we get those done. So thank you for listening. We'll see you next week. Happy Mother's Day. Tell all your moms you love them. We'll see you next week on another episode of the Grab a Hold Podcast.